I kind of want to let's move into that, how the subs have done, because there was thought put behind it, and I think we got some good clarity from TL, a much better statement before the written statement from TL about their move. It was a better statement than the video that they put out beforehand.
I mean, what could they have said? Like, I was like talking about it with my girlfriend. Like, what else could they have cited? They're like, it's personal, performance, and attitude. It's like, what else could you say? Like, emotional issues? Like, what else could you even throw in there? Like, they literally were like, hey, it's something. And then they just like expect people to take it for what it is. And like people then say that because Alphari said, oh, like it was my fault, like he admitted guilt in the situation, where it's like, I don't know what else you expect this guy to do when he's like,
dude,
potentially losing his career, right? I don't know what you expect him to say besides for that. But like, how does that even make any sense when you look at what's happening within the games? Like, it clearly didn't make the team fucking better. So I'm like more on the side of, I don't know what the fuck actually could warrant this type of change, especially with a team where you're trying to go to Worlds. Like you're expected to go to Worlds with this team. So like,
right,
if you are doing things like this, how do you expect to level up quick enough once you put Alphari back into the roster in week 5 to compete with teams that have been playing with their rosters the entire time, sweating and tryharding when you're already starting behind? It seems like a recipe for failure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Alphari thing, the thing that bothered me the most is I got really angry at the people that commented that Team Liquid's post was acceptable and that everyone should have just calmed down. Dude, I feel like I'm living in like the Twilight Zone. Like what reality are we living in that you're this fucking naive and dense to accept the tweet as like a... Because I mean, I think that the foretelling thing about anything, right, is monitoring actions over words of people, right? Actions are generally more honest. Doesn't matter what someone says. You just watch what they do, right? And I think that's probably a lot more telling. Alphari's actions speak more than any Twitter fucking PR bullshit can ever hope to rectify. As well as the things that they couldn't account for, right? Which is the interview, and then the Jenkins interview that did you do it, Deacon?
Yep, I did it. Yep.
Where he even doubles down and acknowledges he didn't know.
I was just like updated the day before that I would be playing, and I was just like, wow, I'm playing, and I was happy to get a dub on the first day.
Time for the tough question. Have you spoken with Alphari since this all has happened?
Actually, I have. He like said good luck to me, and I wasn't unsure of like how the situation was actually going on behind the scenes, because I just told that I was playing. Mm-hmm. And he just said, don't worry about it. And if I still wanted to talk about matches with him, like I was, he was more than happy to answer. He actually did answer one of my questions. So I feel like our relationship is still fine. There wasn't much for me to ask because I think I have like a good idea of what I want to play. And I mean, I just want to say that our relationship is still good. I don't think there's any bad feelings between us.
So it's like, what? And this came out after their fucking PR thing. Well, actually, maybe the video was done before, but it came out after the PR. So, I mean, these are variables.
The video came out before the statement. Yeah, the video was shot before the statement. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a bundle of things that I guess are just an issue. So like, there's so many issues that I had wrong with it. Obviously, I think that they're cutting their nose to spite their face. Like that's an obvious thing. So there's that sentiment. The other sentiment is how naive so many people are when it comes to the way that the whole situation was handled. Alphari like deleting tweets and other stuff, and it just feels really, really, really bad when you consider he's still really young, despite having been around for a while.
He's 21.
Yeah. He's still really young, despite having been around for quite a while, and trying to manage emotionally the situation he's in with the background that he's had. And what I mean by that is not anything on like a personal level, but like all he's known is like hopping around league teams.
Mm-hmm. And finding high levels of praise and success. but still being
right. So I think it's there's a lot to unpack there. I don't know. It makes me just feel bad.
So I would say that there's probably a feeling of like, oh shit, here we go again, another team that's, you know, giving up on me or something like that, and you know the actions are coming, his responses are coming from a place like that. That's a little deep psychology, and that's a lot of I think on my from my perspective, conjecture for how he might be feeling. But when you look at the pattern of how teams have gone, that's a little difficult. When it comes to the oh, this is a move we've been planning for a while, I think maybe that's a move. They said it was a move that they've been planning since summer. But haven't told Jenkins. It was very clear that Thomas had no part in playing this.
And neither did Alphari, right? So like,
and neither did Alphari, yes.
Obviously, when they say that, it's like maybe something that like one time they were like, you know, like if there are like issues with a player, I mean, we should be willing to bench them. Like maybe they said that in like some coach meeting like 2 months ago, like as some random arbitrary statement on how they want to operate their team. But in terms of specifically benching Alphari for Jenkins, no, that was not something that they'd been planning for a while. And like this was super obvious even when I did the crackdown with Jat. Like when we talked about Alphari to Jat, he had only positive things to say and like talked about him like he was a focal point of the roster going forward. So you can go back and date and like timestamp that and be like, oh, well, I mean, clearly it wasn't a month. Maybe it was like the week after where they decided to do this. But I mean, if you go into like a conversation with someone and you're like, oh, tell us a little bit about Alphari, and you're like, yeah, I think that maybe he is the best laner I've ever seen in my entire life. And, you know, he's the type of player where I feel like he can compete against anyone. If that's like your statement on a player, and then you're like, yeah, and we're thinking about benching him, like it makes no fucking sense. Like what? Like if you read between the lines, you can tell there was conflict between Jat and Alphari ended up benched. That's all you fucking need to know about like what actually happened here. It's like, I mean, in terms of like the hierarchy and how things are going, I think it's very standard. It's like, okay, well, the coach matters more than the players. The coach had a disagreement with the player, so in order to like maintain structure and optics and all that stuff, the player is the one that ends up being benched as a result.
You know, it's I believe that the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that we will never know the truth because this is what happened at Golden Guardians. There was always these types of arguments. And in our case, the players went out and the coaching staff got let go near the end of the split. It was very, very bizarre. But, you know, I think the decision that a GM or person in power, whether it was Steve or whoever, has to make at that time is who do I stand by? Who makes this final call here? Do I stand by the structure and system that's in place that theoretically will still be in place and has championship caliber, championship pedigree that can make that happen? Or do I stand by the superstar player that's going to be the catalyst and the producer of, you know, of the plays, and we can put another system around them? So I think that's that was just it's a fascinating one that we're getting to see play out just throughout the rest of the split, I guess, until June 27th, 27th. That's when he's coming back.
Look, I mean, that's when he can't, that's like when his break ends or whatever the fuck. Like it doesn't even say explicitly that he's gonna start. Yeah, it's a suspension. Okay, here's my problem.
Yeah.
How come we're not even letting other teams fucking beat our teams at this point? We're literally just beating ourselves before we even go international at Worlds. Like, what do you expect the result is going to be at Worlds when this is how like the season starts out? Like VENN benched, Alphari benched, players randomly like moving off the roster. Then you have like TSM doing whatever, still doing their same dumb setups where they don't have any idea about like what like they're doing at their Baron, trading Baron for Nexus, all that great stuff. Like, what do you expect is going to happen at Worlds if this is how it starts?
Well, that's the end of our video. You want more though, right? Thought so. Good thing YouTube makes it so easy to watch more VENN Esports. Easier than keeping me in frame. Whoa. Whoa. While you're watching me dodge around, click on these videos.